So in this video, I'm kicking off this month all to do with Ascension Ladders. Okay, so now essentially last month was all about that really, because it was about Ma'at, who was the goddess of cosmic truth, law, order, balance, justice, all of the things. We did a really, really powerful meeting in the temple, aka my Zoom room. That was last week, Thursday, and we kind of went through the principles on how to apply them in everyday life. Now listen, she has 7, so which means each day you can apply a principle. And the reason these principles, universal laws, Ascension Ladders as I call them, are really powerful is because it gives you such a powerful navigational system. It's a map and compass to navigate these frequencies. Otherwise, you're just in frequency. It's like a big washing machine, isn't it? But we are being called now to really walk our talk and talk our walk and walk our talk. Okay, so we are really at that very, very intense point of the scales tipping. You know, we're actually, the month of October is now sending us into a completely different dimension. So many of us have had an absolute explosion of their gifts. Gifts you already had, upgraded, went on to the next level. Gifts that you didn't even know you had coming online. And that was the month of last month and this month. So, I mean, it's happening. It is happening. So with all of this massive, massive energy, we need to ground it now. It is essential for your pathway forward, because without it, you're just going to get lost in the tsunami. So I liken it to this, like, you know, if you go swimming and the waves are big, you're going to get slammed and spat out on the beach. However, grab a surfboard, different experience. You know what I mean? You're meeting the energy where it's at, and you are you're claiming the power and then proclaiming it. Otherwise, the energy is so big. If you still haven't got your back up off the wall and you're not pitching up in a practical way to anchor and ground in this life, meaning living by the principles and, you know, creating some kind of sacred structure, aka your divine masculine, then you're actually just going to be ungrounded and just pulled off the planet. And then what will happen is you'll just be living in that chaos spiral all the time. And I've always said chaos is brilliant, but if you're not working with chaos to anchor it down, then it's actually just chaos and it's not very pleasant to be in. But if you're working with chaos as an alchemist, then you're actually bringing it into manifestation, right? So that's the 2 different versions of, like, you know, swimming in the water and getting slammed, or being an alchemist and grabbing the surfboard and away you go. Make something of it. Make something of it. So I'm going to be releasing lots of videos throughout the month, which are kind of going to, you know, uphold what I'm sharing with you now. Last month was no means an open and shut case with Ma'at. It was the opening of the portal. So each month I'm going to be sharing a temple teaching. So I've just worked out that the last Thursday, because every last Thursday of every single month, okay, is when I'm going to be doing the temple teachings, just so it's easy for you to remember. Now, guess what? The actual last Thursday of this month is Halloween. So I'm like super excited to be teaching the temple on that day, you know, that's for sure. So like I say, worry not, if you miss it, it will get uploaded, right? But these temple teachings are essential to ground all of the energy and frequency that's gone on throughout the month into your being, so you can turn that knowledge into wisdom. All right. So now, let's just speak about this now, because I do have a God that always comes in like wolf. And the God that's made himself known for this month is Toth. Toth, as we know, is a very, very powerful God, and he's the God of wisdom. He's the God of scribing, symbology, all sorts of things. Symbology, teaching, sacred architecture, sacred structure, you know, alchemy, the moon. I mean, he's got the longest CV ever. Now, when we work with Toth, okay, Toth will... It's not unheard of that Toth turns up first before you tap into the other Egyptian Neteru, right? Because he's kind of the God of everything, right? I call him Google God. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he's way more than that. But he's the one that you kind of connect with first. And then he's like a spokesperson to the rest of the council, as it were, you know? But he's a very, very powerful God when it comes to teaching you, helping you remember on how to build sacred structure, sacred architecture. That might be business projects, ideas, expressing yourself in the world. But remember, this is a sacred architecture as well. So you are a blueprint, you are a tablet of light. So he is here now to help us bring that online. But the only way that you can do this is by pitching up and working with the universal laws and the Ascension Ladders, right? So it's like the pyramids just didn't build themselves, did they? There was a plan, there was a blueprint. There were like many, many bunch of starseed councils and helpers that came and made that happen, right? It didn't just, you know, you didn't just let it just float off in the ethers. There was like a physical protocol that had to be made for the pyramids to be built. So if you look at it like that, you know, that's essentially what we're doing here. So to have a strong foundation and to build something that's going to last, aka you and your legacy, right? Ascension ladders are essential. So I really urge you to connect with, I mean, I'm going to be sharing lots of videos because I have a multitude of examples of what you can work with, and you may find not all of them resonate. You might find that some of them resonate. And if you don't find any that resonates, that's also fine. But I doubt it. But there's going to be something there where you're going to go, oh, that makes sense. And then I'm here to spark your memory, because you're here to remember, ignite this ancient wisdom that you already have, like this, of being an alchemist, of being able to take ether into physical matter, right? So that's what we're here to do. And we need to ground this now, because where we're going, like towards the end of this year into 2025, our structures need to be strong, right? So Toth, I've got my list here. Building things, we've already gone over that. Alchemy, accessing your magic, right? It's really important to access your magic. Now, the other video I'm going to be sharing today is about how to build an altar, but I'm going to get more into that and the importance of that in depth in the other video. But this is what I'm talking about getting very practical with your spiritual, because if you don't, then it's just ether, right? So you've got to pitch up to the party now, meet the council at the 50-yard line, and then we go. Do you know what I mean? We co-create, we collab. Because I think prior to this, from a place of lack, and I think this is why we haven't built altars and why we haven't really dived into the Hermetic principles or whatever and lived by them, because we've been constantly thinking, little old me, I'm not that important. So our brain waves didn't even get that far. But now we've woken up to a certain level, enough to know that we are OGs, as I call it. We've come out of retirement to basically land this shiz. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why we're here. That's why you're watching this. We came here to do that. And this memory's starting to come back now. I'm actually thinking, I might be a big damn deal. I think I might be. Could be. Think I might be. Do you know what I mean? So that is why we haven't really got practical with it. So don't throw yourself any judgment or any shade. It's okay. Everything is exactly how it should be, right? So now, this is the thing when Toth, that's why I brought him into this space quite powerfully, because Toth worked with Isis ever such a lot. And some speak of the fact that whether Toth was actually Isis's father. I mean, if you look at scripture and, like, you know, the mythology, he wasn't, but who knows? But some people do say that he possibly could have been her father, because when she needed to spellcast and conjure and get through her human life with so much challenge against her jealous brother Set, who murdered her husband, and we know the story, right? She had to do an awful lot, which kind of like pushed her to reach beyond the realms of her human self. And she worked with Nephthys, her sister, who's a massive spellcaster. And when those two twin sisters came together, they were at their most powerful. So, of course, she would take counsel from Toth ever such a lot. I know that when Horus got poisoned by a spell which brought scorpions to him, she had to go to Toth and actually reach for a spell herself. So there was all this connecting with magic to bring it back to the physical form. Now, I'm not talking about, like, you know, like scorpions coming to bite you here. I'm talking about you pitching up to the party to live in this physical life and nail it. Because I would say that Isis nailed it. She nailed that life. She managed to go and, you know, remember her husband. She was able to bring Horus online, meaning birth him. She made sure he got on the throne and all was right. So, I mean, like, I would say that she was the perfect balance between physical and spiritual. She definitely worked by the laws, and Toth helped her the whole way, which is why Toth, I'm bringing into this space now. So now we have Ma'at, now we have Toth, and now Isis. I mean, like, it's time to play, guys. Time to play. So through this, she was applying spiritual law, invocation, altars, spell casting, using her alchemy, right, to be able to bring success to a project. I mean, I'm talking more modern day terms now. You know what I mean? So that really lands where you are. And if you're saying, God, I can't liken myself to Isis, why not? You are her. You know what I mean? Your aspects are Isis, your aspects are Sekhmet. There's Merlin in there, and there's Toth, because if there wasn't, you wouldn't be resonating with anything that I speak about on this channel, right? So it's like, know thyself is to know the gods, right? So now, what is an essential ladder? An essential ladder, that was correct. let's say Ascension Ladder, an essential Ascension Ladder. There we go. So Ascension Ladder, I'm going to start real basic. So think about it. You have your physical body. I know there's loads of bodies, so I don't want anybody to correct me here. But for my teaching purposes, to keep it simple, because I like simplicity, we're talking physical body, mental body, emotional body, and light body. So think of yourself as 4 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, right? Now, the physical body is the messenger. If all of this is out, so think about it. If your mental body is out, it's because you've got loads of negative belief systems there. So it needs to be cleaned. If you do have that, then of course the emotions are going to bounce off that. So you're going to have anxiety and fear and all doubt and all of these things, right? So of course your emotional body is not fine. And then if that's out, that was guaranteed that your connection to spirit is wonky as well. So what happens is when we ignore these bodies here, then of course our physical body starts to speak your mind, which is, I've got a really bad shoulder, I can't get rid of it. Even worse, things that you might have to be operated on. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, so that is a real basic ascension ladder on how to work 1, 2, 3, 4 to ascertain and understand where the issues might be, right? So another ascension ladder, and I'm just flying through them because we are going to get into them in detail as we go along throughout the month. Another ascension ladder would be your chakras. Each chakra has a color. Each chakra, your lower chakras are to do with more human life, you know, your riches, abundance, or lack of. Do you know what I mean? Wherever you're at. But these lower chakras, that's what holds your map and compass down there. And then when you get to these upper chakras, it's to do with your connection up there. And if you think about that on the Nile in Egypt, the temples were created just so. So when you went through your initiations, you gravitated through each temple, which is essentially the spine, because the Egyptians built everything on the body because they believed, they understand the magic of the body. So that's an ascension ladder till you get up here and then up here, right? So that's another example of that. And then, of course, we can really deep dive into what we know as the Hermetic principles, which are 7 of them. You know, we've already spoken about Ma'at and her 7 principles. We have the 7 sorrows of Mary, but also I say the 7 sorrows of Mary Magdalene because she's the one that speaks to me about those. So whichever way you want to look at that. And that's like the 7 powers of the ego. You know, it's almost like the stages we go through our humanness and what we need to overcome to bring into the light. So this is what I'm talking about. So the most ultimate altar that I want to bring into your space now, which is going to help you kind of like hold up all of this that I'm going to be sharing with you for the month of October and beyond, is your altar, your abundance altar, your connection to the gods and goddesses, your telephone line to spirit. That's the bit that's going to hold you down. Now, that's the other video that I'm going to share. So this is Ascension Ladders, right? So you'll struggle without them. I've actually put at the bottom here, you'll struggle without them. You will. And I'm going to be real about that because the thing is, I want you to win. I want us to win. I want us to unlock our abundance. I want us to get rid of all this illusion, which is absolute bullshit. And the only way that we're going to do that is by now knowing that we're worthy enough, because we know the principles, you know the laws. When you start working with them, it's going to start to spark memory. And then you're really going to be working with Toth because he's going to help you land these principles, right? Remember, he was the creator of the Hermetic principles, tablets of light, all of the things, you know. So now just explaining to you what I deem as an ascension ladder, I have absolutely no shadow of a doubt that you're going to go, oh, well, in that case, that I know that's in my life, that's an ascension ladder. Anything that can give you a foot and a leg up and a rung in the ladder to the next level of ascension, which is good shit, which is good stuff, it's an ascension ladder. Anything that brings you progress in that way and can guide you. So this is where we're at. I'm going to be sharing for the month. Kind of like zone in on what works for you and run with that ascension ladder and then see how you go. Okay. As always, pop your stuff in the comments and I'll always respond and help as best as I can. So yeah, so this is Ascension Ladders. Looking forward to this month. And just before I sign off, important dates for this month. So we are in portal season massively. 1010 portal. Okay, so that's a live ceremonial teaching stream, okay, on the 1010 portal. That will be here on YouTube. So put your notifications on. If you haven't subscribed already, do that. Put your notifications on and then you'll get notified when I'm going online. And then the other one obviously is the temple for the initiates, classroom for the initiates. That's happening on the last Thursday of every single month. This month it will be the 31st of October. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? Because that's landing on Halloween. So what a powerful, powerful holiday to actually have a a thin veil for us to really tap into the frequencies on that day. So that particular temple meet is going to be pretty potent because of the portal that's open on that day. So we got 2 massive portals this month, you know. And then of course we have the tablets of light in May, and that is that's thundering forward, and we've got some lovely starseeds that have gathered with some very significant encodements and gifts to come and share on this sacred mission and expedition. You know, if you haven't caught up on the other videos, please do, because I've done a few videos explaining what the tablets of light is all about, and it's very much about a starseed alignment with what you've got going on in there. And there's a certain specific team, family members, starseed tribe that I go to Egypt with. So that's why I kind of explain it like this, because it needs to, if you have a resonance and a tingle, then, you know, we need you on board. We need you at the temple in Egypt. So with that being said, happy new moon. I'm doing another video now, which is going to be to do how to build your altar and open up this portal for you to do all these amazing work with these ascension ladders. Anyway, signing off now. Love to you, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Next video.